Field Triple keeping you company right here.
Lifestyle with Triple Chama. Weekdays from 11 to 13 hours on Radio Christian Voice. Lifestyle. Radio Christian Voice, your home since 94.
Our mission is to empower and equip believers for the Great Commission by delivering godly and relevant content that speaks to each member of the family. Radio Christian Voice, your home since 94.
The views on this program do not necessarily represent the views of Radio Christian Voice.
Welcome to today's edition of Chat Back right here on yours and my number one radio station, Radio Christian Voice. My name is Lewis and I'll be with you for this particular hour discussing something very interesting. And so today is World Intellectual Property Day, and every 26th of April the world commemorates World Intellectual Property Day. And Chatback is here to give you an insight into what World Intellectual Property Day is and why we celebrate World Intellectual Property Day. And of course, today on our show we have Miss Precious Goswa.
Hi, Lewis.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. You are an IP specialist and founder of IP Hub Zambia. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Lewis. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Let's quickly dive into what we're talking about this morning.
Yeah.
I know many of our listeners out there probably just getting to know about World Intellectual Property Day today. All right. And could you kindly tell us a little bit more about World Intellectual Property Day?
Yeah, sure thing. Firstly, I want to start by defining what intellectual property is. I'm sure many are coming across this for the very, very first time.
Mm-hmm.
So intellectual property, this has to do with the creation of one's mind that will later be transformed and commercialized. So if you have an idea, that's your intellectual property. Just as one would own land, you own a phone, you own books, that is something that is tangible. But intellectual property talks about ownership of one's creation.
Mm-hmm.
Then coming back to World Intellectual Property Day, this was coined in the year 2000 by the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, in Geneva. And it was set aside to commemorate and celebrate people who are creating innovations across the globe. Also, it has been set aside to raise awareness in the field of intellectual property, especially the various forms of IP that have to do with patents, copyright, trademarks, trade secrets, geographical indications, and so on and so forth.
That is very interesting. Now, this year's theme rather is IP and youth innovating for a better future. Could you just kindly, elaborate more on the theme?
Yeah, I love the theme is that it's IP and the youth. I'm a youth. I hope you're a youth.
Yeah. I look for it.
No, you don't. So this year's theme is IP and the youth, innovating for a better future. It speaks into us young people. Fun fact, the world has about 1.8 billion youths who are aged 24. And the youths are vibrant, they are creative. So IP has separated this and segmented it to focus on the youth to see how best we can support these youths to share their ideas, to share their innovations. Youth tend to be very creative, and we are risky. We are very risky. We want to put our ideas out there. We're like, okay, let's try it. I don't care if I lose it all, but I want to put my ideas out there. This is why WIPO has separated this day just to focus on the youth, because the youths are innovative. They have the I can do it mentality. They want to do it. They are go-getters. They have all this energy and power, and with the right support, the youth can reshape our future. They can transform our communities, and they can transform the world.
Interesting. We'll be opening our phone lines in a bit. But of course, before we do that, I'll just give you the phone lines that you can come through on. But we're live on Facebook as well. It's Radio Christian Voice. Do leave a comment right there. And any other questions that you might have. All right, so the numbers that you're coming through via text and direct call is 09602000490, as well as 0977971111. That's 09602000490, as well as 0977971111. Now, I would like to know, Precious, why are the youths the focus on this particular IP Day? I know you've partly answered that.
yeah, sure thing.
Yeah.
I don't think the question is why the youths. I think it should be why not the youth. We are young people, we are vibrant, and if you look at our economy, most developing nations, they have 91% of the youth. If you look at Zambia in particular, 81% of the population are youths.
Yeah.
So the focus should be on these people, because we have quite a number of people that can create, quite a number of people that can do many different things. So let's focus on what we have, and what is it that we have, what we have in our hands. We have youths who are able to create, youths who are innovative, youths who are powerful, and if we're giving them the right tools to do that, they can do pretty amazing things. So this is why we are focusing on the youths. We have quite a number of youths in Zambia who are out there and have latent potential.
All right, we'll have to take a little break, and we'll be right back in a bit right here on yours and my number one radio station, Radio Christian Voice. Don't go anywhere. And of course, that's beautiful sounds of the amazing Esther Chungu, now Mrs. Nyantando. And this one is called Healing. Welcome back to Chat Back. My name is Louis, and of course, we are still having this wonderful conversation with Precious. Now, we've talked and basically just laid, a foundation on what IP is, and all these issues that we've discussed. But I want to look at the financial aspect or the financial benefits.
Yeah.
In as far as this is concerned, and in particular, of what benefit is it to the youth?
Well, that's a very interesting question. Many people are interested in how is it that I'm going to make my money? Why is this important? So remember, as I mentioned, intellectual property has to do with protecting one's intellect, one's mind, one's idea, which can later be commercialized. Just as you would have, let's say, a plot, you have a house, and you have title deeds that prove you have something, you also have that form of protection when you have your intellectual property. Everything around us has some form of intellectual property, and we do interact with intellectual property every day across us. So why is it important? I'm going to say in terms of financial benefits, it plays a huge role, especially for the creators, the content owners. Just as you have that land, I'm going to put it that way, you have that land, that piece of art that you have created. One thing you should know is that it is valuable. Only if you take it out there, you commercialize it. An idea remains an idea inside your head, but you have to put it in a tangible, in a fixed form. So if I'm writing a book, if I'm producing music, I have to make CDs out of it. I have to put it in a tangible form, and I can later resell it and commercialize it. So there is money in intellectual property and protecting your intellect. You can then commercialize it. You can franchise it. You can sell and redistribute and reproduce the work that you are actually putting in. It takes a lot of work. It's a lot of work to create ideas, to create innovations, to write a book, to write a song, and the owner, it's only fair that they get some benefits out of it. So I really feel it's important that there are financial benefits if you commercialize your work the right way, of course. Don't just go out there and giving your work to everybody, but protect it, have the backing of the law around it, then you can sell it, you can reproduce it, you can resell it, you can translate it into other languages, sell it to other countries, and you'll be getting the proceeds after that. So there are many financial benefits that comes with protecting your work.
I have to ask this question, though.
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of people are aware of intellectual property and them owning the rights to their music or any other thing that they do?
No, not many people are aware around that. To be honest, I only stumbled upon intellectual property in my 4th year at the Copperbelt University. And it was astounding, where I'm in class, I'm just like, oh, there's intellectual property.
Yeah.
So I remember one of my lecturers, Dr. Muya, he would say, when you wake up, you interact with intellectual property. The toothpaste that you have, the toothbrush, what do you see? You see Colgate. That's a trademark.
Yeah.
When you wake up, the blankets, the water, you're not just drinking water, you're drinking Vatra. That's a brand. There's intellectual property around that. So we are interacting with intellectual property across us every single day, every minute, but we are not fully aware of that. And there's a huge gap, especially for developing countries, to talk about intellectual property. So I would say many people are not aware of what intellectual property is, what are intellectual property rights, and how to go about protecting their intellectual property rights. There is a big gap. That's why we are trying to raise awareness around it.
Awesome. You are tuned into Radio Christian Voice Chat Back, and of course, my name is Louis. I have with me in the studio Precious, and today we are looking at a wonderful. I love the theme for this year. IP and youth.
IP and youth.
Innovating for a better future.
Yes.
I want us to be a bit practical on this just how intellectual property plays a role in micro and macro development of the country. And we're in Zambia, so we're going to be specific to Zambia.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Sure thing. When you talk about intellectual property, it definitely does at a point meet with our microeconomy and our macroeconomy. So I'm going to start at a micro level as an individual. What is it that you have to offer out there? Your ideas. So if I'm an individual and today I decide to publish a book as a young Zambian, that book will have to carry copyright protection. Copyright protection prevents other people from copying my content in the book. And if I am to commercialize it, so remember, it's one thing to have an idea, it's another to commercialize that idea, it's another to also fix that idea in a state that other people can relate. It's a whole different level when you're just thinking of something, but you have to put it in a format and then commercialize it. So if I'm to publish a book, a novel, I copyright it, I can then resell it. Let's say I resell it to Zimbabwe, I resell it to South Africa, my book goes as far as the US, then Netflix stumbles upon it and says they want to have a movie done out of that book.
Yeah.
I'll definitely get royalties out of that because I have copyright protection over it to say this is my idea, this was my concept behind it, and then I'll get economic benefits. So I would start getting royalties. I can sponsor myself, my family, my community. So at a micro level, these are benefits that one gets to enjoy by protecting their rights and commercializing them. Then at a macro level, we as Zambia, we have an opportunity to join other nations. So we are shifting from an industrialization type of economy to an economy that thrives on ideas, that thrives on knowledge. And what these foreign investors are looking for, they are looking for what's new, what is different, what are you doing? They don't want to see this mass production capacity, but they want to tap into what is new, what is latest. If I was to develop, if I have this organization in Zambia and I'm to develop a renewable type of waste that produces petrol or diesel, and then we have all these investors now looking into Zambia trying to invest into it. So we'll then start exporting it and we'll open up our economy, not just to import, but then we'll then export and increase our level of GDP. So there is a whole lot of untapped potential. So when you look at an economy, you look at different factors. We talk about the political, the economical, the social, technological, but there's also the legal aspect of intellectual property. That is where it fits in to say we have to protect and package our ideas in a way that attracts other countries, in a way that allows us to take our ideas outside there.
Interesting. From what I'm getting from you,
Yeah.
IP apparently seems to have a direct impact on me as a person.
Yeah.
But one other thing that I would like to find out from you is how easy do you think is it for someone to actually protect their intellectual property?
It's pretty easy. So there are different forms of intellectual property. We have patents. These have to do with protecting a technical solution. So it's a technical problem, a technical solution. You have young kids who are in jets. They're always thinking, oh, I can transform this into that. So their solution would have to be around patents. We also have copyright protection. This is protecting literary and artistic work. We have trademarks, which protect brands. So I'm going to give an example of how you can protect these three. We have so many for others like trade secrets, we have industrial designs, but to start with patents, patents have to do with technical work. So it's pretty easy, except that it's evolving. So with patents, you have to go to PACRA. In Zambia, we have PACRA in Lusaka, Kitwe, Ndola. We have PACRA across Zambia trying to ensure that you protect your rights. And with patents, you just have to go there with your idea, state how it works, describe it, put all your drawings, be technical and be as elaborate as you can to say, this is the idea I would like to protect. And once you fill in those forms, you could also get assistance from lawyers to help you so that in the case that you would want to sue somebody, say, I came up with this, you have lawyers to back you up. We can talk about trademarks as well. Trademarks are very easy. If I came up with a name, say IP Hub Zambia, and I would want to protect it, By protecting it, I'm saying I don't want anybody to use my name. Or I'm going to give an example, Vatra. You say, this is Vatra, I don't want anybody to use Vatra. And it prohibits competition from copying that name. You know, it's very common for us to find a bottle out there and it's Vatra, but you know, this is not what Vatra looks like, this is not what Vatra tastes. But it protects yourself from competition copying your product. And with trademarks, you do the same. You go to PACRA, you fill in some forms, and it's about 500 kwacha upon first registration. Second registration is another 500. So overall, it should cost you about 1,500 kwacha to protect your trademark. And they will do a search to make sure you're not infringing on anybody else's right, a substantive search. And then they'll give you that. And once you have that, you can have the little ARA. If you notice, there are products that have an ARA in a circle. That's trademark protection. So you have companies like Coca-Cola, they have the ARA at the top there. It means they have protected that trademark. Then copyright. Copyright is pretty easy. So there is a Copyright Act that is in existence, and with the Berne Convention that occurred some time back, it means that one can protect their rights in Zambia, and it applies to all Berne Convention members. So with copyright, there's a simple way. There's a very simple way. So if I write down a song today, and I would want to prove that I wrote it, you can easily go to the post office, send yourself that, so that it has the date stamp. It's called the poor man's way of copyright. Because of that date stamp, it shows that, okay, this has been acknowledged by the government, this is when you had it, and just keep it sealed there. Alternatively, I would say email yourself that copyright, email yourself that book idea. So you always have evidence to say, on this particular day, I sent myself this email. So if someone has a song, they're like, I sent myself this on this particular day. Then another easy form of protection, I'm going to talk about trade secrets. Trade secrets are the easiest. So I'm sure you've heard of KFC. Yeah, Kentucky Fried Chicken. For their protection, they use trade secrets. Nobody in the whole wide world knows what's inside that recipe. They've taken measures to protect that. So I'm sure they have a safe deposit bank where they keep it. And if you have this brilliant recipe that you would want to protect and nobody knows, you can simply write it down. And the evidence you have to produce is just make sure nobody gets access to that. So trade secrets have to do with work that you're sure, okay, I don't want to publish to the government, I don't want anyone to know, as opposed to patents. Patents, everyone will see it. Trademarks, everyone will see it. But a trade secret, you just have to make sure you have something protected and keep it in a safe place where nobody can access it.
Awesome. We take a break, and when we come back, we'll be diving into what we can do and what it is that the government is doing to ensure IP thrives in our country. Still giving you some beautiful sounds coming through from Esther Chungu, and this one is called Chikangawe, and we'll be right back. Then we'll be opening our phone lines and text messages on 09602000490 as well as 0977971111. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Kind of it, right?
I think so, yeah. It's pretty amazing.
The phone will want to ring.
are independent and do not represent those of Radio Christian Voice.
All right, welcome back, and of course, you are still on Chatback, and of course, we were in the middle of a heated discussion.
Yeah.
You know, I have personally learned quite a lot.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that today is Intellectual Property Day. I had absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
But of course, in case you just tuned in, this year's theme is basically IP and youth innovating for the future. And in the studio, I am joined by Precious Gozwa, IP specialist. I want to know, Precious. We've partly talked about the benefits, of IP in the country, but how do people position themselves and take charge of the opportunities that are presented?
Yeah, great. So people can take charge of the opportunities that are presented. Remember, when an opportunity comes, you have to be prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, opportunities won't wait, and then you get prepared. But what you can do is take steps to, one, invent.
Mm-hmm.
When you're creating something, don't go around copying what other people have done already. Be the first one. Sit down, think, what solution can I offer my society? And then you also have to think around what problems other people are facing. How can I tackle these problems?
Mm-hmm.
And once you have that down, jotted down, think of steps. All right, how am I going to commercialize this? How am I going to take it out there?
Yeah.
And then you later do your research. If I need a type of patent, maybe I need a trademark. That is how you can commercialize your work and take it out there and take an opportunity out there. So if, let's say, a government wants to invest in young people, but they find your idea is not genuine, it's not legit, you lose out on that opportunity. So it's up to us to use our own integrity as we create these innovations out there. Let it be genuine, let it be something new that you've done your research about, and get the right form of protection.
Mm-hmm.
If you have this brilliant song, have it copyrighted so that if this musician comes and has the beats and wants to get your song, you'll be like, no, I'm going to charge you for this. You have to know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in law they say ignorantia juris non excusat. Ignorant is no excuse. So you can't just say, oh, I was ignorant, but you have to research around the area that you would want to thrive in and get the right protection out there.
Mm-hmm. All right, we've opened the phone lines. 09602000490 is the number you're coming through on, as well as 0977971111. All right, 09602000490, as well as 0977971111. All right, so we are able to pick your calls and text messages. You can as well leave a comment on our Facebook page. It's Radio Christian Voice, and we'll be able to read it right here on yours and my number one radio station. And Jonathan is asking this question.
Yes.
What is being done in order for musicians to know about, I think he was trying to say intellectual property.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan from Solwezi.
Hi, Jonathan. Thanks for tuning in. So with musicians, we have a corporation called ZAMCOPS. And I won't go into depth of what they do, but one thing they do is that once you release your music, it would be great if you also have it registered with ZAMCOPS. They're able to protect your rights. So even if you're taking your music to, let's say, one gospel out there, they can negotiate that you get an incentive for it. And they also fight against piracy. You know, it has been very common that you have a song out, then 2 days later it's out there in the streets. Everyone has pirated your music. There are these fake CDs. So musicians risk a huge loss if we have many people out there who are pirating music and just putting it out on websites. But once you share it with ZAMCOPS, they would, of course, at a small fee, they'll help you protect it. And in the case that it stumbles upon them to say this is a fake CD, they would they have the power to stop that person from selling that. Also, the police comes in play, and the law, of course. So, yeah.
All right. Now, to someone that is just tuning in and they would like to know what IP Hub does, what is your role in all this?
So IP Hub was birthed out of a passion, and we noticed there's a gap in the world of intellectual property. Our role is to go out there, educate intellectual property at the most basic level. So we go into schools telling the youth about IP, and we understand that creativity does not just start when you're in uni, when you're out there, but it should start at a lower level, when you're in grade 10, when you're in grade 12, when you're doing JETs. So what we do is we go across the country telling people about their IP rights, encouraging them to be entrepreneurs, not just go out there, graduate, find a job. No, you can be an entrepreneur. You can turn that idea into a reality. So we go around raising awareness of what intellectual property is. We also offer consultancy services. So if you'd want to protect your idea, you can then come to us and we'll guide you on the steps to take to protect your idea.
Awesome. Let's see if we can pick up this call. You're through to Radio Christian Voice. Good morning.
Good morning, Matthew.
Very well, thanks. Who are you talking to?
Hi, Louis. Hi, Bishop.
Hi, Upton. How you doing?
Very well, thank you. Following you, I'm very well. My quick question is that since I had the impression what you were mentioned, she's the founder of IP Hub Zambia.
Yeah.
Would you care to just shed more light on what you do and other activities you're involved in which you like to engage the general public?
All right, thank you so much for that call and question.
Thank you so much, Upton. And if you're tuning in, IP Hub is an NGO that has been in existence since 2019, and our sole purpose is to create a safe haven for people who are creatives, who are innovators. So we realize that there is a gap out there in Zambia for people to go about protecting their rights. So we create a platform, and we're in the middle between us, yourself, and PACRA. So if you'd want to protect your idea, you come to us. We would offer you consultancy services at a small fee, and for others, it's very free, and we'll tell you how to go about protecting your rights. We also go around schools educating young people on how to protect their rights. Currently, we are on social media, that's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We do a lot of digital marketing, also talking about how to protect their rights and educating people on social media. So you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We have quite a series of topics of how you can protect and go about protecting your intellectual property rights.
Awesome. As we are coming to the near end of our program today, what would you tell our listener where you are found and how they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can get a hold of us on our various pages. That is IP Hub Zambia or Intellectual Property Hub Zambia on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. You can also follow me, that's Precious M. Grace, on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can also reach us on 0971 105885.
All right, before we go, let's see if we can pick up this call. You're through to Radio Christian Voice. Good afternoon. Good morning. Kindly reduce the volume on your radio set, please. Yeah, you can go ahead with your contribution. Please give us your name and where you're calling from. Yes, Reverend. Please go ahead with your contribution. Awesome. Yeah.
Coming from a church background, I have seen young men and women that would stand up on a Sunday or not giving an activity in the church and then give out a very good point. On the fact of very good point, you follow them, you find that they have written that.
Yeah.
But then after it has been recited, it dies like that. Then the other thing is you try to use this book will perform, or rather will worship and praise God in a very grand song that's very well composed. And then from there the church may even take over. But that's the basic ministering through that song. It's good. We should just look at that because it is the worship of God, and then also a way of substance to protection. That's my question.
All right, thank you so much for coming through. An interesting question.
Yes.
Those people that compose songs in church and poems and all, should it just be left like that and people just sing them, or maybe they should take a step further and protect their intellectual property? That's intellectual property,
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's true.
Yeah.
So there's been a big debate across intellectual property, having to know what limit can you freely share.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a fun fact. Until the year 2015, the song Happy Birthday to You,
Mm-hmm.
you are not allowed to sing it because it was owned by somebody. This is why maybe you'd go in the restaurant, then they sing it in a different version, in a different way, because it had some intellectual property right protected under it. For songs, you would have copyright protection, and copyright protection goes as far as 50 years after the person has died. So if I produce a song today, people can only freely sing it after I have died 50 years post that. So when you come to the church setup, we do worship songs, like Hillsong has sang them, but then are we commercializing them? It's different when I go on stage, I start singing somebody's song and I'm commercializing them. This is why you have to put a disclaimer. I noticed Radio Christian Voice has this disclaimer that they put to say these views are by this person.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're out there teaching content that's not yours, you could put a disclaimer. And intellectual property tries to promote education as well. So if you're sharing content that is not yours, it's great to always put a disclaimer to say this song was always composed by this. You can sing it in the church, but not as a way to commercialize it and start charging people for songs that you didn't produce. If I started producing music by Hillsong in Zambia, then I start charging them, that would be infringing on Hillsong's rights, considering that I'll be getting benefits for somebody else's work. But then intellectual property has certain rules and boundaries. If I'm singing, I have to sing to a congregation maybe of less than 50 people, then I can put out the disclaimer and I can sing it for free. Don't go and Hero Stadium, sing Hillsong songs and charge people for that. It's just that imagine Hillsong coming to Zambia and suing you. It's tedious. It's a lot of work. So you find as developing countries, we get away with a lot of things. I've seen brands in Zambia, biscuit brands, imitate biscuit brands from South Africa. And it's just that we just get away with a lot of things. I can imagine Romani Creams coming to Zambia and suing some companies for imitating their products. So we take it lightly, we take it for granted, but we actually infringe on other people's rights, and it should not be that way.
It's very interesting that you've raised that point of singing to a certain number of people in church and that not being infringement of rights.
Yeah.
We've seen people doing cover songs these days. How do you classify that?
It's easy to do a cover song, and remember there's a disclaimer. Don't go and do a cover song and charge people at Hero Stadium for it. Ed Sheeran will follow you, or Bethel Music will come and say, you're singing our song and you're charging people for it. So remember there's a limit of the number of people you can play a song for. Don't exceed that limit. That must be about 50. And then you always put out that disclaimer to say, I'm singing this song, it's been done by this person. So you can do covers, and you have to put that disclaimer to say, I'm not the composer of that song, as opposed to starting to take credit, starting to take money on behalf of the original composer of the song. So there are all those limits. And the laws of Zambia actually state that. Remember, ignorance is no excuse. So the copyright law, we have the Copyright Act of 1994. We have Cap 400 that talks about patents, Cap 401 that talks about trademarks. Read all that. It would be interesting to see if Bethel came and sued somebody for charging for their music. Yeah.
Interesting. We have to go. What are your final words to the listener?
My final words is that, everyone has been given that opportunity. What you have, what I have, our brilliant brains, our brilliant minds. We are called to be creators. God is a creator. He created in the beginning. So we are creators. Find that which you can contribute to your economy, and don't hide that talent. If you can sing, sing. If you can write books, write books. Remember, if you're withholding your potential, you're withholding how much you can contribute or bless somebody's life. So your ideas are valuable, and what's valuable is worth protecting.
Awesome. This is where we get to wrap it up for today. I'll be back on radio at 14 to 16 hours on New Generation Reloaded. But like I always say, love your partner like Christ loves the church. And always know that you're quick, you're sharp, you're good looking, and you're most definitely a major blessing. Esther Chungu taking us out of the studio with Runaway Child.
Ray Bowling.